Hello, everyone, and welcome to Live After Survivor Series. I am Sonia Rogers, here with 14 Fitzpatrick and Cain A. Knight. Yay! And we are here to talk about Survivor Series. First of all, say hello to everyone, guys.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone, once again for this wonderful show. This is a very special show for me because Survivor Series was my debut show on Cagesiders Speaks almost a year ago, and it's been an absolutely wonderful year that I've been able to contribute to Cagesiders Speaks and help out Tanya Rogers with Live After SmackDown Live, now known as Wednesday Night Shooting. You can see it on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. with her and Andrew M. Swift.
Yay!
Well, congratulations on your one-year anniversary, Fizz.
I know, right? I remember that show, and there was a very bad feeling after that show. Have the complete opposite this year. We're going to do the grades at the end, but none of us really watched the pre-show, and none of that really matters.
We gave it the appropriate amount of attention.
Right. So we could just go to the main card, and the show started with SmackDown Women's Elimination Match. And first, I want to get, since he is new to my show, I would like Cain A. Knight to opinions first.
I thought it was pretty awesome that they let Becky be a badass for a good chunk of the match. I was surprised that Carmella was eliminated. Alicia eliminated Carmella, right? That kind of surprised me because I figured Alicia was the one who would lose right away, right? She's barely been on TV. So they gave her a pin. That's the main thing that I remember early on. But anyway, I was definitely surprised with Sasha Banks, her roll-up elimination. I guess, they're focusing on Charlotte and Bayley going forward, I guess. So I guess Sasha had to be the odd woman out. To not be around for the end of the match. And overall, I thought it was a fun match. There was a few botches and some sloppy, whiffs in there and stuff. So, I'm sure that'll mark it down a grade or two. But I thought it was a good match overall. I liked it.
What about you, Fizzy? What are your thoughts on the
First of all, which mysterious assailant beat up Nikki Bella backstage and denied me the chance to see the Queen of Strong Style beat Charlotte up again? Which one of you? Was it Carmella? Was it Alexa? Was it Natalia? Whatever is going to happen at TLC, and obviously we're aiming at a disqualification match here at this point between the mysterious assailant who wears enough leopard print to be confused for Enzo Amore and Nikki Bella, who is going to E-fer her.
You might get a swerve, Fizz. I think the swerve might be, Natalia might be the culprit. I mean, she was wanting to fight in her home in Toronto, and those general managers and commissioners wouldn't let her do it. So maybe she did it,
That's a possibility. She's going to eat a Bella Hammer for her troubles, though. And she was the first victim of the Mishiwa Green Bella Hammers back, I believe it was Money in the Bank 2015, I think. There's a gif on it somewhere of Nikki Bella in green, Nella hammering Natalia.
No, that was a tag match with Natalia and Paige against the Belly Twins at the Royal Rumble. I remember that because Nikki was in that green.
Yeah, and she Bella hammered Natalia twice. So anyway, I actually watched this match last because WWE Network started the pay-per-view early. I thought it was going to be starting at 8 o'clock. Turned out it started at 7:30 p.m. I wasn't ready for it because I was going to skip most of the pre-show. And instead, I ended up watching Miz versus Zayn first. So I just spent the last 15 minutes before the broadcast aired watching this match. I thought it was an enjoyable match. I really like Nia Jax going all crazy auntie and trying to give everybody hugs of death. And, of course, Sasha versus the Pixie Hulk. We at least got that one dream match up there. Sasha and the Pixie Hulk beating each other up every chance they got. Charlotte was Charlotte. She was serviceable in this match. But was it just me, or is Bayley the bigger heel in that match on the Raw side? She's just standing there on the apron, looking at her opportunity to just destroy the SmackDown Women's Division. And she ended up destroying Becky Lynch in the match at the end there. And then Charlotte had to reassert her dominance by beating up Bayley.
I don't know. I think it's just you, Fizz. I didn't get the heel perception from her.
Yes. No. Everything about this match. Bayley is not a heel. I wish people would see. This is why you don't put her in a 5-on-1 beatdown, because then people start saying stuff like this. She's being loyal to her brand. It may be naive, but that's what she was doing when she went in there. Save Charlotte from getting pinned. You know, it just makes sense in this type of match to partner no matter who it is. She went in there, she won for the team, and she paid for being Bayley. In the end, she thought Charlotte was going to celebrate with her, but of course she's not. Because Charlotte is a selfish, evil person and wants to be on the top. The thing about Sasha, I mean, it happens. It happens. Like,
she lasted longer than the New Day.
Yes, that's the good thing. That is. And hopefully something will come out of it. I don't know. Maybe they'll just send her back to catering until they find another big match for her to have at WrestleMania. Because that's what they love to do with her.
Do you think she'll be eating some pinfalls at Nia Jax's hands on Raw going forward?
Probably so. You know, that's what happens when you mess up the finish to a match.
Right. Eye roll.
Good gracious.
I mean, I think she did her part well. But the issue was, I mean, at least she got out of there unscathed. Because I think the Pixie Hulk wanted to beat her up some more.
Yeah, let's talk about how over Alexa Bliss is in Toronto, Canada. It was amazing. Every time she got to be like the most evil person out there, and she's getting large cheers every time she came in. I thought she looked great. I was very impressed. And it seems like her and Becky are going to continue their thing moving forward. So,
right.
Which I enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
So it was thumbs up all the way around.
Yeah, it was an enjoyable match. I really liked it.
Any more thoughts on this match before we move on?
Well, I mean, I think Nia Jax is going to have a more prominent place in the Raw's women's division going forward. She just had a wonderful performance, you know, of just being the destroyer throughout that entire match. And if Sasha Banks is the one that has to end up fighting against Nia Jax, I think that'd be fine. In all honesty. I know there's a lot of people who are Sasha Banks fans, but let's see what Bayley can do with Charlotte in this instance.
Let's see how many pay-per-views Bayley can lose to Charlotte on.
I was thinking the same, but I was not. So thank you for saying it. Let's see how many times Charlotte's going to pin her on the pay-per-view.
How many are there between now and WrestleMania?
Let's see. Roadblock, Royal Rumble,
right.
Fastlane.
Fastlane
is
that actually, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of I'm forgetting the split pay-per-views. Yeah, I don't know what the hell the February Raw one is.
Saw Elimination Chamber.
Okay.
So I hate that match. So
maybe we'll get the first ever women's Elimination Chamber, so Charlotte can beat all of them in one shot.
I probably still won't like it.
I mean, I really like the Elimination Chamber gimmick, so I'm looking forward to that if that happens.
I like the gimmick too. Yeah.
It sticks to the formula too much. If they mixed it up, I would like it more. But you could almost get eliminated, which order they are, who's going to come out of which pod. Is just like, it got so redundant and unoriginal at the end. It was just like, please stop doing these.
Maybe they'll trade, after Charlotte is done beating Bayley a bunch of times, they'll trade Naomi over to Raw and have Charlotte beat Naomi. She has to beat all the baby faces, right? So they could get the SmackDown, I guess Becky's okay for now, but Charlotte's going to go over everyone in the company before her streak ends.
I mean, she's well on her way. Listen, I don't want to, because listen, personally, I'm a big fan of hers. I think she did great tonight. I just don't like the way it's all about her. And
I like,
so it
yeah,
gets irritating.
I like Charlotte too. I'm just being a dick.
Well, that is fair. That's absolutely fair. Go on to the next match. We saw the Intercontinental Champion, The Miz, take on Sami Zayn. And if Sami Zayn won, then the Intercontinental title will go to Raw. What are your thoughts of this match, Fizzy?
Thank you so much, Maurice, for saving the Intercontinental title and having it not go to Raw and have it not be in the hands of Sami Zayn. Thank you so much for ringing that timekeeper's bell so that Sami Zayn thinks that he won the match, even though he didn't, and that The Miz could do something dastardly to keep the belt away from Raw. I liked what I saw in this match, and I saw like 2 free minutes of it. It was enjoyable. And I really think that it was great that they kept the IC belt on SmackDown, because that belt has got some storylines coming up for it that seem really interesting. And you can continue the thing with Ziggler, you could have Zayn be traded to SmackDown, or you could start something up with Baron Corbin. There's a lot of possibilities for the IC belt now that it's safely back on SmackDown. Fingers crossed. What were your thoughts on the match, Cain?
If I had to rank the matches from my favorite to my least favorite, this would probably be my least favorite. Not that I thought it was bad necessarily, but nothing really stood out to me in this match. I thought the ending was pretty funny. I did enjoy that. But I don't know. Zayn was selling his knee the whole match, which was okay, I guess. I don't know. Miz's work in the ring doesn't really impress me much. I'm not really a Miz fan. And I don't think Zayn really did enough to keep, to overcome my anti-Miz-ness to keep me so much in the match. I thought it was okay. It was fine. But for a Sami Zayn match, I expect better. And I didn't think much of this match.
Yeah, Sami is best when he's facing against dream match opponents like Finn and Nakamura, whereas The Miz is his wrestling skills, they are above average. They've gotten better over the last year or so, but still, it's The Miz versus Sami Zayn, and you expect Sami to do better in those situations. But every time he's been put against a lesser opponent, he seems to struggle. And you would think with a guy with his skill and his experience, he wouldn't be struggling against opponents with lesser skill than he does.
I'm the sort of fan who I really enjoy seeing displays of athleticism in the ring. So I personally would have enjoyed a Ziggler Zayn babyface match probably much better than this one, because I've always been a Ziggler fan. The Miz's style is just sort of mundane to me. Yeah, and it just didn't really I could do without Miz matches. I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, I'm a Miz fan. I think he's so old school. It's like a very psychology driven Southern style wrestling he does, and that's what they did in the match. Sami Zayn beat himself.
Right.
He couldn't come up with another move other than the haluva kick to take the Miz out. If he had to try something else, or, well, I guess he couldn't have tried his submission either, because they used his legs too.
Well, he used the figure 4, right? Is that what he thought he tapped him out with?
Yes.
One thing that I thought was really funny is after the match is over and Miz is celebrating on the ramp and kissing Maurice, they cut back to Zayn real fast, and he's talking to the referee through the ropes, and he said something like, "But I heard the bell." It's like it still didn't dawn on him what happened. It's like, oh, Sami Zayn.
Poor Sami. Poor Sami.
You underestimated The Miz's wife there, Sami. If she's able to dubiously cheat to get her loving husband the belt back after beating Ziggy, what do you think she's going to do to you? Answer, ring a bell so that it confuses you that you think you've won. And it
also is like a throwback to the Montreal Screwjob. Everybody's in a submission and the bell rings, but no one's given up yet.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. I appreciate. I always appreciate when they can just rub it in Bret Hart's face. What they did.
There were multiple times on this show, or maybe it was just once. I think it was twice, where people had sharpshooters on. I want to say Natalya and Cesaro each had a sharpshooter on someone, and I was like, "Oh, are they going to do it?" You know? With the bell ringing. But I am disappointed in Sami Zayn. He should know the cadence of what the normal bell ring sounds like from the official bell ringer, and he had no clue. He had no clue what a Maurice bell ring sounded like and what the normal bell ring sounds like.
Yeah, it was odd.
I mean, he should be at least thankful he didn't get maced in the face like Ziggler has 1,000 times.
Right, and there was no Spirit Squad to ruin his night.
Yeah, so they just did a throwback. I can appreciate that. The next match was the 10-on-10 Raw versus SmackDown Live tag team match. And I thought it was going to be terrible because when it gets to be too many people in the ring at once, it's a lot of chaos. But I love this match. So really enjoyed with like New Day getting eliminated because they were acting like fools and dancing and not paying attention. Like, yeah, you pinned one person. It's an elimination match. Keep it going.
And it's like the guys you eliminated were Breezango. Like everyone eliminates Breezango.
It's Breezango, right? You celebrating like you.
Right. Even the Ascension was watching backstage thinking, what's the big deal?
Yeah, exactly. So I also appreciated American Alpha. I was a little disappointed that they didn't win in the end. That's who I was rooting for, really.
Yeah.
But if Cesaro, who is over like Rover, could get a pay-per-view win and celebrate the complaint, that's my thoughts on the match.
I thought this may have been my favorite match on the show. I really, especially with the ending sequence, when it was just Cesaro, Sheamus, and the Usos, I was super into it, and they sucked me in on a bunch of the false finishes and all that. And I want to see that match now. I know they're not going to do another cross-brand match for a while, but I want to see Cesaro and Sheamus against the Usos for some sort of tag titles. So now I'm more invested in Cesaro and Sheamus as a tag team. So you know what? I think it was a success. And you know what interested me in this one is the Shining Stars got some burn in this match. And I wish the match even went a little longer. I wish they could have cut maybe 10 minutes away from the longer one, the Kevin Owens match, and given some more time to this one. Not that this was short or anything, but I was really enjoying this match. I thought even Breezango early on when they were throwing their tickets around, I thought that was hilarious. And so yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was really good.
Izzy, what are your thoughts on the match?
So the Toronto Police Department is apparently missing some police hats because Breezango appeared, and I had never seen Breezango with these fashion police outfits, I guess. And they get eliminated first by the New Day, who are busy celebrating when they get attacked by a couple of house movers, the Usos. And the Usos eliminate the New Day, which was hysterical. And the rest of the match was like this wonderful controlled chaos. You have people flying around. You have people doing dives. You have Enzo Amore being a ballistic missile. Finally, they got some use for him. And it boiled down to the final two teams in the end. You had Cesaro, Sheamus versus the Usos. And the Usos just played their roles as heels to perfection, just cutting people off, interfering between Cesaro and Sheamus. And then the two of them just finally realized, look, we got a team together on this one because the Usos are out-monstering us right now. And so Cesaro did the Cesaro swing on one of the Usos, and Sheamus was there to intercept the other Uso, and Cesaro won a match on a pay-per-view. Pigs are flying in the sky now, I guess.
Is this his first pay-per-view win of the year? It probably is. He came back after WrestleMania, so he missed those first few months. And I think he was losing those IC Fatal 4-Ways. Yes. And I can't remember what he's been doing since. I want to say this is his first win. Oh, no, you know what? I'm sorry. Last month, they had the tag DQ win over New Day, I guess. But, it's a DQ.
Yeah, that's not a real...
Right. Right.
Just call it.
Right.
It's not a real.
Right. It was a trombone, like I think that did it or whatever, right? It wasn't even like they won the match themselves. Yeah. So it was definitely good to see Cesaro get a win.
Well, if the trombone could have been more useful than the New Day was in this tag match, they got eliminated first. The Shining Stars were more useful than the New Day in this match.
The controlled chaos phrase you used, I think, is pretty fitting. I really enjoy it. I know a lot of these matches have all the, everyone hang outside the ring and catch each other while we take turns diving on each other's stuff. But I thought it was really fun in this match. And I really thought the chaos was pretty awesome with this match.
Also, Rhino got a shave.
Oh yeah, I was so every time that he wasn't on camera a lot, I guess, but every time he was, I was distracted. It was very startling to me to see Rhino's face.
And we can start it with Rhino. All of the spears on this show tonight were just range from great to excellent. So the spear game and gore, whatever you want to call them, they were top notch. Top notch.
And
okay.
I think Heath Slater's dive was my favorite of the bunch. That was amazing. Good job, Heath Slater.
Yes, very good job. Okay, the next match is the Cruiserweight Championship match between the champion, the Brian Kendrick, and he had a great promo before the match started because, they have to put the purple ropes up, versus Kalisto. And if Kalisto won, then not only would the title go to SmackDown, the entire Cruiserweight division would go to SmackDown. So I'm going to start with you, Fizzy. What did you think about this match?
All hail our wondrous hero, Baron Von Corbin, for saving SmackDown from the scourge of the Cruiserweight division. Thank you, Baron Von Corbin. Thank you for helping out the Brian Kendrick, even though you did beat him up a little bit, and destroying that annoying Rudo Kalisto again. And now this sets up Corbin versus whatever the deranged lawn gnome is going to send at him for interfering in SmackDown's plan to take over the Cruiserweight division. The match itself, before the interference, was a really good match. This was probably the best Cruiserweight match that they've had on the main roster so far. Kalisto and Brian Kendrick really clicked, unlike the Perkins and Kendrick matches, which made me feel sympathetic to the hobo who looked like he was about to shive somebody in the middle of the ring, instead of the guy who loves video games, man! Power-ups! Mega Man! Super Mario! Look at all this shiny blink stuff!
It's funny when Enzo and Cass came out. Sorry, I'm going back quick, but I'll have some continuity here. In their promo, they were talking about having their energy drained, and I was just thinking of T.J. Perkins in video games when they were talking about that, and I was like, "What's going on here? Did the gimmick spread?" But do you have any other thoughts? Sorry, Fizz, I cut you off.
No, that's fine. That was a great. I also thought about the energy drinks promo. I'm like, what in the world is Enzo Amore saying here? He's being more insane than usual. So I thought, did Perkins get in his ear and introduce Enzo Amore to the world of Castlevania, Super Mario 64, Donkey Kong? Corrupted his little mind in the world of video games and power-ups. I mean, we've had concerns about Brian Kendrick being a cultist, but we should really be concerned about T.J. Perkins spreading the evils of video games on the Cruiserweights and the rest of the roster. But, like I said, Kalisto did really well against Kendrick here. My dad, who's not normally a fan of professional wrestling, was actually really impressed by this luchador guy, as he said. As he was watching the show with me as he went off to work, and he was impressed by the little luchador guy. Was impressed by Kendrick, too. I really liked that Spanish fly spot that they did outside of the ring, which was really cool. Kind of surprised that they did it, but it was really cool nonetheless.
Yeah, and another spot that stood out to me, the two brutal spots that I remember are that one, and then Kendrick's at the top rope, and I don't even know what you call it, I guess it's what a maneuver, but he basically had him he flipped him around off the top rope into the captain's hook move, and just, it looks brutal the way they landed off the top rope, and I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I thought this was a really good match. I felt like maybe the crowd wasn't as into it as some others, or maybe I was just more distracted, but I thought they both did really well, and I was happy to see Corbin in his promo or his interview after the match actually say, screw those little ants. I don't want any of them here, because it made perfect sense for him to say that.
Yeah, I love Baron Corbin, and it's mighty suspicious. He's ready to go tonight.
Right.
But he had to get replaced.
Yes.
He had to get replaced.
That's right. Yep.
Moral shame, because I'm telling you, football players stick together. That's all I'm going to say. This match, I was really entertained. Brian Kendrick's a little weasel, and I just love everything about that character. The way he moves, the way he wrestles, he absolutely knows who the character is and who he's going to be in the ring.
Yeah. And
he wrestles who his character is. It's just great to see. And Kalisto doing his lucha things. He's a solid guy. I actually want to see them put some type of bow on the Baron Corbin Kalisto thing. That's where I hope that's going.
Maybe
Brian can get in there later.
Maybe that'll be they'll bring back a stairs match, maybe a TLC for Baron Corbin and Kalisto. They got to bring back a stairs match one of these years. Sorry, I had to bring the mood down. I think, I really like Kalisto, and I hope he gets more I don't know if push is the right word, but more exposure, more TV time going forward. And I thought he did really well in this match. And it never really made sense to me to bring the Cruiserweight division to SmackDown, because they basically have 5 matches per episode. And I don't think there's enough time to fit the Cruiserweights in there. When you have all these other guys you got to give your TV time to. So I think it's good that the Cruisers are staying on Raw.
You can always do it later, like maybe next year's Survivor Series. They can have the Cruisers go to SmackDown when they figure out their formula a little bit more. But that's I think the Cruisers right now on Raw stay there for now. Just slowly but surely build up the Cruisers at this point. I know people are upset the Cruiserweights are on Raw, but to me, I'm like, building a division takes time. Rome wasn't built in a day, and none of these wrestling promotions were built in a day either. They just brought them back this year. Wait for them to build up first.
I think
in a few months, so.
Yeah, and TJ Perkins, I don't think was really the best guy to start with the title. Not that I'm super well versed in all these cruiserweights in the division yet, but Rich Swann seems to be the guy they're going to focus on now going forward with Kendrick. And I think Rich Swann's personality and charisma are probably going to help him achieve more than TJ Perkins was able to, because I think he's more charismatic personality.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, any other thoughts on the match?
Else? Yeah, anything else on the match? Or can we move on?
Are we going to talk for an hour on the next match?
It's 2 more matches. Don't forget now.
Right.
I was making a joke that the main event that Brock and Goldberg were going to go Broadway, but no, they didn't, because they're too old. The young guys went Broadway. That brings us to SmackDown Live main event version. This match was very long, but I'm going to tell you, there was only a few parts that dragged for me. Everything I enjoyed, the way Braun was eliminated, what he did to Ellsworth, especially, because I am not a James. I just wanted James Ellsworth to go through something. I don't care who did it, so they just made me a Braun Strowman fan.
Oh no!
I think
yes.
the Ellsworth's use in this match was great, and for most of the match, I was wondering, where the hell is Ellsworth? Is he not ringside with them? Because I saw him come out as the mascot, but I couldn't see where the hell he was, because they had enough crazy spots outside the ring where they showed the entire ringside area, and there was no Ellsworth. So I just figured, all right, I guess he'll show up later. I don't know where he is. Mm-hmm. And then when Strowman's trying to get back in the ring on the countout, I was like, oh, this is really bad. Strowman is I just thought it was really bad acting. He's stuck for 3 extra seconds. I didn't understand what was happening. And then they panned down, and I'm like, this is amazing. So I changed my tune real fast when I saw Ellsworth's hands, and I thought it was awesome. And then Braun destroying him was sorry. Yeah, Ellsworth was really good in this match.
Another thing that I can appreciate, spear from hell. Oh my God. Like when I saw Shane going up to like the top rope and I see Roman on the other side and I'm looking at Roman, I'm not even paying attention to Shane. He's going to get up and he's going to cut him in fucking half. And like the look on Shane's face was like, at that moment, he knew he had fucked up. Oh God, I loved it. Oh my God, I jumped out of my seat. I was like, yes, take that. That is for all the full-time wrestlers who wanted your spot.
Fizz,
Absolutely love it.
On that, let's talk more about that spot. Fizz, I haven't read anything of like, is Shane okay, or was that just planned all along, or what happened?
No, Shane actually seems to possibly be legitimately injured, but
Right.
that's probably not just because of the spear, but because of the fact that he decided to jump on a table from outside the ring and took multiple risky spots throughout the match and was like, first minute of the match, I knew something was wrong with Shane because he's like wobbling around with his jello legs, and I'm like, oh boy, he's gassed.
Right, and I expected to come out afterwards that he's concussed. I mean, I didn't watch the spot back in slow motion, but I think his head hits the mat pretty harshly on the spear. And but it was weird because they're doing the count, and then they stopped the count, and like his shoulder was up, and so I was like, oh, this is awkward. Is the referee just, going along with what looks legitimate, and then they have the doctors in? It was awkward. So
his eyes were bugging out of his skull.
Right.
So something was wrong there.
He looked concussed to me. I mean, not that I'm just a random Joe, so what do I know? But he looked messed up.
Yes, he looked like no.
Right.
No. I cannot do anything else.
Even before the spot, he didn't look okay because he was wobbling on the outside of the ring there.
He did go to Braun in the table.
There was so much Shane McMahon in this match. It's the one thing I would point in this match that I think there was, if I had to pick out my biggest negatives. And Shane's punches are terrible. Anytime he had, I felt bad for Roman Reigns having to sell Shane McMahon punches. And
I did. Because he got him back.
That's right. But man, Shane's punches are terrible. And I mean, I get it, he's not a trained wrestler, but it's like, man, those are they're terrible punches. And then he took so many moves too. He was taking a beating for a good chunk of the match. It was him and Ambrose, and maybe AJ were the three guys. Orton and Wyatt really weren't in the match a lot for the first half, I would say. And Shane McMahon was like the ragdoll getting beat up for a good chunk of the match. And I thought that was probably the weakest part because Shane he's not a trained wrestler, and it didn't look great. And it was. And he took a beating in that match. He really did.
Here was my thoughts. At the start of the match, it was like, okay, how in the world are they going to get Dean out of this match? And Dean got eliminated by Braun Strowman after assistance from AJ Styles.
He was eliminated first.
Yeah. My mother was pleased with that. She doesn't like Dean very much. And then Braun got counted out by James Ellsworth. Then Braun decided that he was going to take the little tiny man and he was going to throw him into something heavy. And that something heavy turned out to be a couple of tables, a Gatorade bottle, and 2 boxes of pizza.
Was that pizza boxes? Because I was looking at it I think that's pizza.
Yes. There were pizza boxes on the table. Staff members are going to be furious that Ellsworth ruined those.
Maybe they set up a merch table for Ryback, and that was what he was eating. Had some pizza, But what I thought was, sorry, I'm having a brain freeze. Continue talking, Fizz.
Then after all of this happened, and Braun walks to the back, he actually did a lot better than I expected he would. And I know that you're a certified Braun Strowman disliker, Cain.
Oh, I remembered what I was going to say. It's related to Braun. This was a very awkward spot in the match, and I don't know if anything went wrong here, or this is just how it was, but Dean Ambrose is still in the match at this point. He jumps over the top rope, and Braun catches him on the outside. And then
Yeah,
Braun walks right. He walks over with him around the corner, setting him. And I was like, what is he going to do with him? Obviously, it's going to be something destructive. And then he turns around to face the ring, and so he could be in the right spot for whoever it was. I forget. AJ Styles. Okay, to jump over. And I was like, oh,
terrible.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. That was one. He was supposed to have a monster moment like Nia, and I will say Nia passed, and he got a C minus. If he hadn't threw Ellsworth through that table, there would have been nothing he did that was like particularly intimidating.
Did either of you? I want to get your opinions on another Strowman spot in this match. He had AJ Styles in the ring. I'm forgetting the exact setup or what happened, but he's holding AJ Styles, and he throws him over.
The ring.
Right, I thought Styles was legitimately.
AJ hit his head on the apron,
it looks so dangerous to me, and that's part of my Strowman hate. Maybe I'm just falling for the gimmick. Maybe I'm being worked, but I'm just like, that is so dangerous.
No.
And Styles is one of the most valuable guys they have. It's like, you can't be risking that. It's so dangerous.
The same thing. I thought, I was like, ooh, that's kind of. Oh yeah, I remember that.
I thought that AJ had tripped himself on the top rope. When Strowman went to throw him, AJ somehow got his foot caught on the top rope as the fall was happening.
Okay.
It still was not a good spot.
I know it still wasn't a good spot, but Strowman threw him, and then AJ somehow, in twisting around in the wind, got his foot stuck on the top rope.
I don't usually see people just get thrown out of the ring like that all the time. Like that's not a normal like spot to do to somebody.
Well, Big Show does it all the time.
Really?
Yeah, he checks people out of the ring.
Do the people almost hit their head on the apron?
Then the rest of the match, when AJ was in there, he's going around doing all his crazy, awesome moves, and it's like he didn't miss a beat, and I was like, wow, that man is impressive.
Yeah, it was very impressive. Yeah, that was what were you going to say?
Yeah.
Well, the one unimpressive thing that he had to do was try to get Seth Rollins to sell. Oh my lord. Seth didn't sell until like the final 10 minutes of the match. He was running around like a crazed chipmunk on steroids.
You know what? I don't even remember what Seth Rollins did in this match outside of we'll talk about the Shield Powerbomb, and outside of the RKO, but because the shirt he was wearing a half Raw, half Seth freaking Rollins shirt, and I was like, why didn't you just wrestle without a shirt on? Like, why are you wearing this shirt? AJ Styles took his shirt off, and it was just so distracting. I don't know where the hell that came from, but it was Fandango should have been out there with Tyler Breeze throwing those tickets at him because it was ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, like, was he trying to be Two-Face? Because that was what I was thinking of, the Batman villain.
Yeah.
But he didn't do anything Two-Face in the match.
No, he didn't. I didn't get that either. One thing I did notice was that Bray both had their shirts. Everybody else was wearing their shirts. They had their shirts tucked in their pants.
Right. Kevin Owens came out with the shirt draped over his shoulder, and then when the bell rings, they go back to him and he's wearing the shirt. And I'm just like, why didn't you just come out wearing the shirt?
He wanted to get his merch too.
That's right.
Yeah, they're selling. Yeah, they're selling a special prize fighter shirt up in Toronto, so that's why he had to get that in there.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, let's talk about Kevin Owens' elimination, which I thought was brilliant. The relation, he actually does care about Chris Jericho because Jericho was in trouble and he was not having that, so he got the list of Jericho. Funny, and then after he got eliminated, which dude, you just cheated. That's a foreign object. I don't care if it's just a stack of... You cheated. So Jericho is fumbling around trying to pick up the paper, and then he gets rolled up. I was laughing. Great way to get them both out of the match without making them look really bad.
I think it's interesting because Jericho is could potentially take that treatment of his list in a very insulting way. So tomorrow on Raw, Jericho might have some beefs with Kevin Owens, where Kevin Owens can be like, look, I was protecting you, best friend, and Jericho's list is sort of in shambles right now. Who knows what shape it's in. So this could strain their friendship, even though Kevin Owens was trying to do the right thing by their friendship.
He was.
But I have to talk about Jericho was so over in this match. Jericho, I know they're in Canada. I mean, every time he got tagged in, the crowd just wanted to see as much Jericho. They were drinking it in, man.
Yes, they were. It was nice. I thought he did really well tonight.
He's one who I felt bad. I think he was selling for a bunch of Shane punches at some point. I'm sorry.
He was selling for Shane the most. He was selling for Shane the most.
Right, that's what it was. Right.
And it was somebody else. I know Roman did for a minute, and then he killed him. And Jericho was selling for him the most, but was it Bray that had to?
No, Bray was on Shane.
Strowman. He sold for his punches a little bit too, and I was like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, the other aspect of the match that I did, like when Strowman was about to come,
right,
and Bray got in front of him, and for a minute you thought Bray had mind control over him. That was I liked that spot too. I just wanted to put that in.
It made sense, and it made sense with all their past history, and so it was good that they threw it in there, and it makes sense that Braun did what he did, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So basically, Yogi Bear beat up somebody with the list of Jericho, which is a $5,000 clipboard with a bunch of names written on it. I believe the 2 pages right now of the list of Jericho are missing because Randy Orton kicked them out of the ring. Jericho is devastated that his precious list of Jericho has been destroyed. And we're going to see what happens when Yogi Bear and Boo Boo go at it on Raw this week.
Right. This is definitely not a great storyline for like the top main event feud of a show. I do enjoy Jericho and Owens and what they're doing, but I like more seriousness, I guess, but at the same time, SmackDown was having Ellsworth do his thing, his goofy stuff for a while. So they're both shows have kind of gone that route with their top storyline.
Well, Owens is going to be
over,
yeah.
Just go for it. That's what I say.
Well, Owens is going to be facing Roman at Roadblock, and I think Jericho's going to be facing Rollins.
I hope they change that.
I feel like Jericho and Rollins have faced each other on Raw like 8 times since the brand split. I'm probably wrong, but I feel like I've seen that match way too many times.
Yeah. They don't need a pay-per-view match.
We have to talk about the Shield reunion.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get on to. Now, this is the part where I started to perk up again. Dean Ambrose comes out, and I already, when he comes out, I know. I said, okay, Shield reunion time, people, buckle in. Is the reason why Dean Ambrose got eliminated. So he can come back and interfere, because what are they going to do to Dean? They can't, eliminate him again. So he gets in the match and starts beating up his own teammate, AJ Styles. So security's pulling him back and everything. And then Roman and Steph give each other you know what? Yeah. And then they start beating up the security guards. And then they do the power bomb through the table. Unicorns and rainbows and magical moment. Reason they've already fought each other and all of that, so I can get with them doing that and getting rid of AJ Styles.
Yeah, I popped big a year ago at, was it Payback, when they did the triple powerbomb on Orton, and that was one of my favorite spots of the year. And same thing here, and this one did blindside me. I didn't even see it coming because I'm a mark, I guess. But it was once they go and take out those security guards, I'm like, yes, awesomeness! I was so happy, and it was very satisfying and fulfilling. Bravo to all involved.
Also,
yeah, and I see some people. Just one thing from a Shield devotee: y'all don't be taking it out on those 3 guys that the WWE ran that into the ground. It's awesome. Don't be saying screw the Shield. They are. You just forgot how great they were. Go watch them back on the network. Don't do that.
Right.
And also that very confused high school teacher wasn't able to stop them this time because he was in the backstage area because he just got carted off. So he couldn't stop Dean like he had earlier in the match because he got speared. It kind of reminded me of Roman Reigns if he was gonna like spear the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man or something. That's what it looked like.
I had these feelings of I can't think of the word right now, but when it was Roman Reigns left all alone against Wyatt and Orton, I was like, oh, they're doing it again.
Yeah, me too.
Right, and you know better than me, as you're a big Roman Reigns fan, so you know that feeling way better than I do. And I was like, oh no, they're gonna do it again to him. So I was actually surprised when both Orton and Wyatt survived. I figured Roman's getting booed out of the building. I just figured he's going to go over both these guys, and even Luke Harper as well. Why not? And then he's going to be the conquering hero who just gets booed out of the building, you know. But they didn't do that.
Now they're going to start it's football season almost over with. You know, they ain't got but a month. Stephanie going to start picking on Roman and Seth again, and Triple H going to come back. And yada, yada. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did any of Luke Harper's interference get seen by a referee? I feel like they'd had to. Like, there was no disqualifications for anything Luke Harper did. I was a little annoyed by that.
No, the referee didn't see him. Although by then the referee was kind of already getting really annoyed because of the fact that he just saw an angry man just beat somebody up with a list, have a ginormous dude. And that's the thing that my mother commented on.
Going through tables.
Yeah, somebody crashing for a table. Also, Orton versus the announce table. He is now 0-14, I believe, because he tried to go through the table. They had to actually use the Spanish announce table for the spot because the other table wouldn't break.
The German announce table is tough.
Yeah.
It will not be break.
Yeah.
At all. It is the table.
Yes. The invincible table. What I liked about this was Bray and Randy teaming up and sort of, you know, Randy has taken on the appearance of basically a Sith Lord and is now following Bray around, and Bray is so pleased. Oh my goodness, I finally have somebody under my spell who's willing to listen to me. But boss, I'll listen to you too. Not now, Hopper. Busy eating worlds.
Yeah, I enjoyed that Randy actually came out to Bray because I was scared that he was gonna come out to his own music, but he came out with Bray. I was very happy about that.
Well, he hears voices in his head, and the voices he was hearing was catching flies in his mouth, tasting freedom, running around. He was hearing Bray's theme.
One thing that I thought was interesting in this match, in hindsight, is that I don't think any pedigrees, any dirty deeds, any phenomenal forms or styles clashes were hit, and it was like a 50 or something minute match. Were there any of those big maneuvers? I don't think so.
No.
I don't think they wanted Seth to be pedigreed to Timbuktu if he did the pedigree again. Because Triple H is still trying to look for that sledgehammer of his. It's gone missing. That's why he's been away for so long.
He's gonna show up and win the Royal Rumble again. It makes no sense, but that's probably what's gonna happen. They'll main event WrestleMania next year with Triple H and Seth Rollins. It's always about Triple H.
Triple H is the main event. When you wrestle him at WrestleMania, you're in the main event.
One thing I'm worried about, as they gave a big, strong, push here to the Wyatts and Orton and that combination and Luke Harper. And the rumor from a recent rumor roundup on Cageside said something about Undertaker going after Randy Orton first. And I'm just like, are they just building these guys up for Undertaker to destroy them again?
But he shouldn't even care because they won. He said, if you win, we all good.
Right, that's why.
If you lose, I'm going to bury you. So he should be happy.
I figured Raw was going to win this match because of that reason. And so when Raw won the first two elimination tag matches, I was like, oh shit, they're going to sweep. But they didn't. So what did you two think of the distribution of wins between Raw and SmackDown? Was it reasonable?
I think it was, and here's why. Raw is the heel brand to the fans. Have like SmackDown, the under the baby face coming from behind, and that's exactly what the main event was. Like most people assumed, like we did, when it was Roman Reigns by himself. Oh, he's about to win the match, and no one's gonna like this. Reasons why Raw is the heel brand is because Vince has been so stubborn with Roman Reigns.
Right.
Main reasons, and I think it might be a little stroke of genius from Vince to set it up where actively cheering "Let's Go SmackDown," and
Yes.
before Seth Rollins was eliminated, there was no "Let's Go SmackDown." That was pretty cheer
Yeah.
for this guy on this team, this guy. But when it was just Roman Reigns, it was "Let's Go SmackDown." Vince does not. Vince sees. He sees what's going on. He knows his damn company. He knows what's going on. Night that was all set up on purpose, so that SmackDown could be the baby faces stand tall. And those are the main eventers. That's the one that Daniel Bryan's going to talk about the most anyway. So it made perfect sense, the distribution of wins, because SmackDown women, I mean, it's Charlotte. You know, she's going to stand tall. Like, there's no... I was kind of surprised by Raw, but they actually have a storyline to go along with it, so I'm not going to be mad. And it's Cesaro. Like, how can you be mad Cesaro won on pay-per-view?
Yeah. Well, now Stephanie and Foley threatened people's jobs if they didn't win. Was that just for the main event Survivor Series, or was that for like the totality of the 3 matches? Because if it was just for the Kevin Owens match, she has some people to fire now.
She got a lot of people to fire.
maybe they'll get Ellsworth back for one night and book a 5-on-1 revenge match, and the 5 of them could take on Ellsworth and just give him the beating he has coming to him.
Because he got rid of Braun,
right?
So we don't know what would have happened if that hadn't happened. But yeah, I enjoyed that match. So, any more thoughts about this moving forward or anything?
I just think I thought it was a good match. A little too long.
Was a bit long.
My mother was very confused as to why this 46-year-old gym teacher was working a wrestling match.
Is he only? I thought. You know what? I thought he was older than 46. That he's 46.
Yeah, he was born in 1970, so he's like 46, 47. So she was really confused as to why this man and his horrible punches were out there in this ring, and then...
Isn't Jericho 46?
Yeah, but they're both in kind of a similar shape. You know, Chris has got a massive beer gut. And... Oh, another thing to mention, my mother does not like Chris Jericho's mustache.
Oh, he's doing that on purpose, right? To be a heel, right? Just have
I know, but my mother alluded to, why is he trying to look like Adolf Hitler? That's what my mother legitimately said. Drop the stash. He was doing the, because she watches war documentaries in her spare time on PBS, and she's well aware of the German military style of walking, and like, is he trying to look like a German soldier, honey? Is what she said to me, because he's got the long scarf and the mustache, and like, well, he's not trying to do it, but I do remember that Jericho does come from the school of thought of just he started a riot in Brazil when he stepped on their flag, once.
Yeah.
And JBL did the accidental goose stepping on a house show in Germany that got them banned for a couple years. From working there. But that was like my mother's fault. I was like, why does he have this mustache on? Why is he trying to look like a German World War II soldier? And I kind of get it. I kind of understand it, because, like, I don't know if that's the kind of look that you should be wearing when you're going overseas international, especially in Germany, because Germans are very, very particular about that. You know, they have so many anti-Nazi laws in place in that country that it was just a little thought, as me and my mother were watching this show, and she saw Jericho's entrance, and she was like really shocked that they allowed him to have that mustache. Also, he did bust his nose during the match.
Right.
Yes, he did have a busted nose. The match was very physical. I would give it to. I was so proud. Like, other than the 240-year-olds, like AJ Styles is like, so he was like the oldest really full-time wrestler. Those these guys can go. And other than like small little parts that dragged and Seth Rollins in there putting on headlocks again. Other than that, I enjoyed the way the match was structured. And it was like a perfect ending to the crescendo of the whole night. SmackDown overcame and stood tall with their heels, no less. But the Wyatt family desperately needed something like that. And the fact that it's Roman over pretty much everybody else on the team. Sorry, he's kind of like the most legit person to pin on the team. Sorry. He is. So anytime he can like put somebody else over for a minute, because he's not like he's getting booed. Turn him heel.
They really, it just turned him heel already. It just turned him heel.
Like when this is the part where I was just like, he is just gonna do heel stuff. Because they were gonna do it on the German table. He was like, no. He went over to the Spanish table. So I don't like these guys. I'm taking this table.
Right.
I'm like, oh, there's your top face.
Right. I was like, what is he trying to say here? I don't like these guys. What is it about them you don't like? What's wrong?
Yeah, no, for no reason, Roman. I was like, this is your. So he just gonna do whatever he want to do. Like, Vince gonna keep booking me like this? I don't care. I'm gonna tweet and act like a heel all my points. The fact that the way he wears his belt, he probably did that one time, and somebody was like, "I don't like that. That's disrespectful." He was like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna do it every time I come out. I'm gonna wear it like a backpack because you don't like it."
That sounds like we're getting into like Ryback territory towards the end of his run, where he's just, I don't give a crap what they don't want me to do the CM Punk stuff, whatever.
Roman Reigns is just like, yeah, the script says I'm a face. What the fuck ever. Yeah, I done gave up on that one.
And my mother was also confused as to why is there a high school gym teacher out there in the ring with the rest of the SmackDown people? I said, "Oh, that's Shane McMahon. I know who he is, honey. Why is he out there?" Because they think he's a draw, I said.
Because Baron Corbin was not in physical shape to wrestle.
But he could appear in another match.
Right.
No, he murdered the cruiserweights instead.
The spots that Shane got, somebody else could have did them, but yeah.
Well, I mean, at least it wasn't Baron Corbin's ribs that got busted by Roman splitting him in half.
No, see, it probably would have been AJ, and AJ is actually taking that spear.
Right.
Way better than that. That's the exact type of situation where he's jumping in Roman spears him. I think that's how their payback
the rematch I think ended like that.
Extreme Rules then.
I think I could be wrong. One of them
ended like that. But yeah. So let's move on to the main event of the evening. Yes.
We could just laugh for the next 10 minutes.
We saw the mega match between the Beast, Brock Lesnar, versus Goldberg. Listen.
Greenberg.
Listen, I've never been a Goldberg fan my whole life. I have hated him with a passion for various reasons. I love Goldberg.
Right.
Man, he beat Brock Lesnar. Like, what that means tomorrow and who Brock should have put over and this. Just to see it happen. This was like old Goldberg, what he used to do to Jay Bronze on WCW Saturday night. He speared, picked him up and pushed him into the corner. And he pushed Brock down, and Brock just looked at him like, what? Then he spears him twice and jackhammers his ass. And like, except for like pausing for dramatics and to soak all the cheers in, that was the whole match. That was it. It was the most glorious, beautiful, most wonderfulest thing of our sport, ladies and gentlemen.
They should have played Bobby Roode's theme after the match was over.
Glorious. Oh my God. I was just like, I have not seen this.
Now, the most sorry, I'm just going to jump into one quick aside here. The most disturbing thing to me about this whole sequence was after the match was over and Goldberg goes to bring his son in the ring. Did he like throw his son in the ring? I don't know if you saw how his son got in the ring. Like he didn't like place him nicely. He like just sort of tossed him in the ring, and it was violence, not the right word, but it was not a comfortable exchange. It was very weird.
I didn't see that, actually.
I thought he just picked him up and threw him in the ring normally, just like he grabbed the rope and then he went in.
But like he kind of tossed him in the ring, but like I don't know. To me, it was not the safest way to get your son in the ring. I feel like he could have placed him on the mat, and he didn't really do that. Anyway, sorry, I digress.
I hope his son didn't get any like sprain. I think Goldberg was just still pumped up.
Yeah.
Now you know how Vince does things. He does bookings like this last minute. So could you imagine Goldberg and they're going over the match and he's like, "What? That's it? So you telling me you gonna book me like I was booked in WCW against Brock Lesnar of all people?" What?
Right. So I want to see it
at WrestleMania, though. You guys know that, right?
Oh, probably, right. I mean, well, I hope not. I hope this isn't just so they can do another match and then Lesnar wins. I hope, like, I'll give the perspective of someone I'm a big fan of Brock Lesnar in general, and even as a big fan, his matches are just boring ever since he started Suplex. The Roman Reigns one was good at WrestleMania. The triple threat at the Rumble was good that year as well. But for the most part, this whole Suplex City stuff is kind of boring. And I like Brock, and I want to see him do more than just that. So if this is the start of like a character change where they, it's not just, he just conquered the next guy, who's next, I want like this to change how they use him somehow. So if all it is to now book another match of him and Goldberg, I'm probably not going to be too excited about that. But I want to see some change here with Brock.
Yeah, well, I think what it is that Vince didn't expect Goldberg to get the reception that he got. And this is supposed to be a one-off.
Yeah.
And I think Brock was supposed to win. And then Goldberg probably isn't in the best ring shape. So if he goes from now until WrestleMania training for a rematch with Brock, and Brock actually, they can kill Suplex City off, and Brock actually has to wrestle, I wouldn't mind a rematch that much, no matter who wins. That got me so hyped. Like, if they use Goldberg like that, I have no problem with him. Great. Fizzy, what are your thoughts on it?
As Tanya said, the match was divided into 3 parts. Spear, launching him up into the jackhammer, holding him to make sure that he doesn't drop him on his dang head, finish, pin, done. 3 minutes. Bill Goldberg just pulled a King Kong Bundy on Brock Lesnar, who became Special Delivery Jones in this situation, and presumably up in the gates of... Is SD Jones still alive, or is he passed away?
Ooh, I think he's dead, but that's a horrible thing to say if he's not. I don't know.
Well, regardless if he's in the pearly gates or not, he's probably laughing hysterically right now. Somebody just pulled an SD Jones on Brock Lesnar. And we got the joyous sight of Paul Heyman basically being used as a beanbag for Bill Goldberg to smash into. For those who don't like Paul Heyman and his performances this year, you have those who don't like Brock Lesnar, especially after the debacle at SummerSlam, where he legit concussed Randy Orton. The cathartic reaction of, this guy just hit 2 moves on him, jackhammer, and done. 3 minutes. Enough to get enough time to get yourself a bag of popcorn before the end. I thought it was an enjoyable sprint. Bill just had to go get his gear on, walk to the ring, eat some sparks, then go ask for his paycheck from Vince in cash. He isn't accepting checks. He's going in cash. And Brock's like, Paul, what happened? Brock is sad now. Brock now wants Jimmy John's.
Oh, Lord.
It's probably one of the easiest paydays for Brock Lesnar. He just had to go in there and eat 3 moves, and he's done.
That match is proof positive that Brock Lesnar does not play politics.
Right.
Because there's no way somebody plays politics. I pick him up and put him in the corner, and that's all I do.
Right.
No, he's like, shit, let me cash this check right quick.
when they brought Goldberg in for 2003 or 2004, whatever it was, that he never went over Triple H like that. So yeah, no politics for Mr. Lesnar.
No. The way he went, did he even go over Triple H? I think Triple H won Elimination Chamber.
Right, yeah, Triple H won the Chamber. Lesnar got the title at some point and then lost it another month or two later. I don't remember. I hated Triple H at that time. I try not to remember.
We all hated him.
Right.
At that point, seriously. But, oh, God, it was just the greatest. The greatest.
Okay.
I hope this match kills off the idea that, because I've still been here, and we've been here for over 2 years. Who's going to get the big rub from the streak? Who's going to get the big rub? And it's just that ship has sailed. There is no big rub to be had. So Undertaker got his win back, right? And it's done with. Don't worry about that anymore.
Lord Bane made a good point about wrestlers and streaks. Usually, the person who has the streak is the person that's going to be remembered for their streak. Like Brock,
right?
People will remember it because it's shocking.
Right.
But that's not like something an unknown person or somebody who really isn't a name should be getting. Like, that's not how WWE does things. Who retired Ric Flair? Retired Shawn Michaels. The Undertaker. Neither were spring chickens when they did it. The idea that you have to and give it to some up and comer, that doesn't really pan out. Like, Stone Cold became the biggest star ever, beating a broke down Jake the Snake. What I'm saying, so it doesn't really grand scheme of things. And if Goldberg can bring more people in watching and get people excited and get these young guys who can wrestle hour-long tag team matches some more exposure, I am all for that. Especially if he just does 3 minutes out of there. Yes.
Oh, and guys, my production assistant, my mother, just handed me a little note. S.D. Jones died in 2008 of a stroke at the age of 63.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to inform our viewers here that, yes, he has passed away. And he is laughing at the pearly gates of heaven that somebody just pulled an S.D. Jones, and it was Brock Lesnar.
Well, look, I watched too many Goldberg matches back in the day, and this was the best case scenario.
I mean, my best case scenario was Sable bonking Brock Lesnar in the back of the head with a club, dragging off to the cave for dinner and snoo-snoo. This was the second best thing.
Yeah, there are going to be some people that think it's Goldberg. Why they could have gave it to this, that, and the other, but like, that was a glorious moment.
I said to a person on Twitter that this moment was the best way to go about it, so that my friend didn't have a conniption of blind rage if Brock won.
Like the way they built up Goldberg was he's the biggest babyface ever. He's a superhero. He's the best dad ever and all this stuff. So if he did, I mean, I expected Goldberg to lose, but if he did lose, it would have been very deflating. Like, you're not superheroes lose. Sorry, super dad, but you came up short. You can't beat the monster. You can't beat evil.
So this is a good question. Is Vince finally over his like everyone from WCW must lose? To prove I won the Monday Night Wars.
Who's left to embarrass? Is there anyone left to embarrass besides Gold? He could still embarrass Goldberg if they do another match. But yeah, I think I don't think Vince will ever be over that. I don't think Triple H will ever be over that. I think it's a tandem thing with those two.
So as long as he doesn't face Triple H, he might be okay.
Oh, maybe that's what this is. It's going to be Triple H against Goldberg at WrestleMania in like a retirement on a pole match or something.
Don't tell me that. Dude, no, don't.
My thought actually was, I thought that this was leading up to Goldberg versus Cena.
Well, if Goldberg's willing to do another match, that's certainly a match that's always possible because, you know, Cena versus any old guy from the past is a match they would do.
That's true. But I don't know if that would be a good fit, though.
To see the top babyface against Super Dad.
Yeah. Heel.
And Cena can't do a heel?
Well, Cena, they never. Cena, I've been waiting for Cena to
turn heel
for like 11 years. Yeah, it's not happening anytime soon.
No, they don't want him. He's not going to do it. He gets to be a heel on Total Bellows. So he's getting it out of his system. All great that I would give to this show. It was an A-, just because like there are little things here and there. But I was thoroughly entertained. Every match delivered for me. Most of them are SmackDown stories, but there are some potential things on Raw also that could be interesting moving along. So, what do you guys rate the show?
What do you give it, Fizz?
I was going to let you go first on this one, Cain.
Okay. I would give it trying to B or a B+. Let's see. Quick decision. I'll give it a B. I thought nothing was really bad on the show, but there wasn't really anything. I don't think any individual match for me was great. I think it was all kind of good. So a B is probably fitting.
For me, I'd probably give it an A-, because this was the first time that I actually got to see Survivor Series live on the WWE Network, because when I did the Survivor Series show last year, I didn't have the WWE Network back then. This was the show that got me the WWE Network for the holidays and as a present, and I was looking forward to it and seeing what they could do here. Apart from the bonkers start time, which started like 30 minutes early, so I missed most of the women's match until I caught it on replay before our show started, as I said. The lack of Nikki Bella hammering Charlotte in the face, and just Shane. I hadn't seen the badness of Shane until this match, and oh my lord. A bowl of Jell-O is more coordinated than Shane McMahon is when it comes to selling and pulling punches. Like I said, my mother was confused as to why they let a high school gym teacher enter this ring with these 4 other people. Like the ending of the men's match, was happy that they kind of surprised us by having SmackDown win out there. Like the tag match for being controlled chaos. Like the women's match for what it was. It was enjoyable. It was fun. I like Nia Jax squeezing the life out of people, giving people hugs, which is going to make Bayley mad because that's gimmick infringement. And I'm happy that Tanya didn't have a conniption over the Brock Lesnar-Goldberg match. And all's well that ends well, right?
And not only that, she's a Goldberg fan now.
I know, right? This show has made me a Nia Jax fan. A Braun Strowman fan and a Goldberg fan. And, like, those are 3 people I was kind of like, whatever. So...
I mean, Big G's going to be happy, too, because his man Braun Strowman was murdering people the entire match.
Right. I would say that a lot of people had a lot... I know some people are upset because Raw won a lot, but, like, just because they were booked to win doesn't retroactively make Raw the better show. Or that they had the better women's in tag division, because they don't.
They lost the most important of the matches.
List was over of all the women out there.
And we also got to hear Michael Cole's voice. Thank goodness. I know that most people wouldn't be thinking that as a positive, but compared to Morrow, oh my god, Morrow's out of control. Oh god.
I don't pay attention to him anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't bother me.
I was paying attention to Cole. Morrow was just like... it was like was like listening to a cheese grater grind up some onions.
You guys got any final thoughts before we close it on out here?
Nope.
I think that going forward, this was much like an all-star game. It was a fun experience. It was enjoyable. You got to see some of your favorite players facing off against one another, but there's going to be more interesting things coming along on the horizon. We got Roadblock coming up with some of these matches looking interesting, and we also have TLC, which will probably lead to the first women's tables match, I guess, between Becky and the Pixie Hulk. We also have a potential no DQ match between the mysterious assailant from Jersey, actually Massachusetts, versus the master of the Bella Hammers, Nikki Bella, which will be really enjoyable. And this was an all-star game. It was an enjoyable all-star game, but I'm looking forward to the next two pay-per-views, Roadblock and TLC.
Well, it's been an enjoyable show, and I like talking with you guys. I enjoyed the show, and I can go home. I mean, well, to sleep now, thinking about that big spear from hell. I'm just gonna be replaying it in my mind over and over, like, doosh, and then he came down, it was like, blam, and I was like, like. The rest of the show could have been pretty bad, and I saw that, I would have been happy. I wanted JR to come out and be like, "Oh my God, he's broken in half."
Right.
It was good talking to you guys.
Yes, it was good talking to you too.
All right, see you guys later. Bye.